All right. Right, all right, all right.
Okay, you sound better.
There you go.
Do I
There it
look
is.
better?
You look fantastic. I like that shirt, by the way. No.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm
That.
naked. I don't.
Oh, no wonder it's see through. That's why. How you doing, buddy?
Good, good. How are you?
All right, man. Yes. You know, where's my damn podcast? I got a very special guest on the line. Yeah, we're definitely gonna get into it. Um, But first things first, where's my damn podcast? Be sure to share, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Do what you got to do on those that internet thing they call it. Just you know, yeah. Like I said, share it, spread the word. Um,
Or
but
your legs?
yeah, yeah. Like I said, I got a very special guest on the line. He's uh stand-up comedian. He hosts various shows and open mics, and we're gonna he's gonna actually break it down for us as far as how he got started in this whole comedy game. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, um, uh, I'd like to welcome you to the show, to the podcast,
Curtis Newingham. Thank
Curtis
you.
Nungham.
I always mess
Yeah.
up your last name, so I was like, I better help him. Give him the assist.
The layup assist.
Yeah,
No,
no,
yeah.
it's my name is not. I mean, it's not hard if you sound it out, but
You know what? Actually, when I came across your name, the first time, I didn't even like read the last part of it. It just the newing. The
yeah.
I thought it was Asian, bro.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like Newing. Is it Nguyen or
Oh,
what
yeah,
is this?
yeah,
What's
yeah. I
going on
got you.
here? Yeah, but it's yeah, Newingham. It's Newingham, right?
Yeah,
Newingham.
and I was
Yeah,
not understanding what you were meaning at first.
yeah. Yeah, no, because I just saw it for a split second the first time I was checking it out. I was like, okay, like oh, but I didn't read the whole thing fully. But yeah. Anyway, enough of that nonsense.
Well, when I was younger, man, like my name is Curtis, and if I ever anytime I dated someone, if they told their parents like his name is Curtis, they always thought I was black. So
Oh, that too. Just because, yeah, that for
that
some
first
reason
name,
Curtis, yeah, the first name
well,
somehow,
Curtis Blow, Curtis Jackson, 50
yeah,
Cent in the house.
yeah, yeah. You could have ran with it. It's like, yeah, I got a big back cock.
Yep, I'm like I got the candy shop. You want to lick the lollipop?
There you go. Hey.
All right.
But Curtis, so I actually first met you late last year. I believe right around October when
hmm
you did Blue Horse. Obviously, you're still continuing to do that open mic. But that was the first time I met you. Uh, it's been fun going out there. It's the comedy competition every Wednesday at 7 p.m. But first, how'd you came about with that whole thing?
Well, I've always produced shows, so with the pandemic, being here, I would have liked to have just created a run and it been nothing but paid gigs, for comics. I have a lot of friends in the business, and it keeps me fresh too. So, but because of the pandemic, I didn't know how many people are going to want to come out.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Yeah.
Afraid of dying. So I just decided to do an open mic competition now. The open mic competition is only 3 weeks of the month. One of the weeks of the month we have that paid run that I was telling you about.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
So it's yeah, it's been several months that we've been doing it, and it's been successful so far. I picked up Nino's on Thursdays, which is I want to say like 20, 30 minutes from Blue Horse,
Mm-hmm.
and we're eventually hoping to get into the same idea there, and hopefully create a run for comics that are coming through from LA or wherever that's close, so they get extra money out of performing, especially in these hard times.
Right, right. Yeah, no, I appreciate you your hustle and producing these shows and yeah, it seems like a lot of the comedians have been totally supportive and going out there every week to either to see the showcase or just competing and having fun doing comedy.
Yeah, I mean, and a big part of being a comedian is just networking in general. So, doing open mics gets me new, fresh faces, and I like building up comics too, man. So I'm starting a writing session. I'm not doing it on the days that we have the showcase, but
Hmm.
every other day if comics want to come out and just write,
Right. Yeah.
or just
Awesome.
hang out. I
Awesome.
mean, sometimes hanging out opens up your mind to new concepts of jokes and stuff too. So
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. That's dope. That's dope. So let's take it all the way back, man. I know you told the story at one of the mics to a lot of us comedians, and yeah, you mentioned how you got started, but break it down for us, because you're originally from Arizona, right?
yes,
In
sir.
Phoenix, Arizona.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, just kind of break down like how you got started and
Okay, so I had kids at an early age, so I didn't jump into anything real quick. But I took an acting and modeling class when I was like, I don't know, in my early 20s. And
you were that handsome back then?
I wouldn't say that, but
Nah.
a lot of the females would. No, so
Nah.
I decided, I want to try to get into. I was thinking more acting than anything. The modeling aspect of it was just a part of the class. So they just taught both things. And I think it was because
Ah.
they were trying to double dip because, of course, what they did is if they booked us, they got a chunk of whatever we were, making basically.
Mm.
So I did some runway modeling and I hated it, it was just, it was like, I got to change my clothes 10 times. That's not a dude thing to do. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so
Wow, that's crazy.
yeah, so I did that for a little bit, and then decided that I wanted to take a different turn. During the acting part of the class, I learned that I'm pretty good at improv for the most part.
Okay.
So I thought, okay, maybe I should try stand up. And the first time I got on stage, man, I was nervous as hell, man. Like my palms were sweating. Like I had never been like that.
Knees weak,
Any
arm is heavy.
Yeah, something like that. I had vomit on my sweater,
Yeah.
from mom's
Mom
spaghetti.
spaghetti. Ooh,
Yeah,
yeah,
so
we're rolling, Curtis. Hell yeah. We got
so
to get on the road, bro.
yeah, I know you just beatbox and I'll just sing.
Right.
So
Blind beatboxer, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah, I've seen that you mix. I've seen you mixing before.
Thank you, thank you.
How does that? I've never really listened to it. What do you mix usually?
Well, a lot of times now I like to just scratch at home. It's
Well,
just
I
pretty.
scratch too, but it's like my
Yeah.
nuts most of the time. But
Hey, this not kind of show, Curtis. What's going on
oh,
here?
okay, okay, I didn't know
No, I'm just kidding. You say
that.
anything.
Is this like
Um,
PG or what?
no, 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 no. What playground? No.
No, no,
Um,
I'm not allowed
no,
near
no.
playgrounds.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, well, that with that whole thing, I do mix, just different genre like hip hop as far as the mixing aspect, but a lot of times I just scratch. Scratching is like, I mean, with DJing, it's if you really think about it, it's like it's all ear. Like if you
Yeah.
have a rhythm, a sense for rhythm and music, it's all ear. So that's where it kind of lies with that whole thing.
Well, I might have to have you collaborate with me on some stuff.
Hey, opportunities, opportunities.
Boom.
Boom.
Well, I thought about
Um,
bringing music into comedy too for a little while. So
yeah, yeah. Oh well, well, as far as like instruments and stuff, like guitar or something. Is that what you're?
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
no, I have a voice looper.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um,
I remember that. Yeah. Whatever happened to that?
I know. I just no time to practice too much, you know. And it does take a lot of time to get that stuff down. When I first got it, I was like, oh, I got like, a few things down, but it's so in depth.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I'm like, oh man, I bit
Well,
off more than I could chew.
yeah. Well, I've seen like some people do like they'll include it into their act, like beatboxing and using that type of component as well.
Well,
Um,
for me, I was thinking more along the lines of using my audience to help me make music.
okay.
But I have realized too that it's hard to get your audience involved at all
It could
times.
could be a lot of work too, right?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
even were you there at J.R. De Guzman's show?
No, I wish I did, man. I'm totally missed out.
Yeah, so he was asking the audience to give him like words to write a song about, and at times it was hard for him to get anybody to say anything.
Yeah, yeah,
So sometimes it's difficult to play with the audience, but
yeah. Damn you, audience.
yeah, pretty much. I always blame them for everything.
Yeah. Well, shit. Yeah. Back to your story.
Oh yeah. Sorry, we got off sidetracked.
Yeah, I know.
So I got up, did my thing. It was okay. They called me the Jingle Man for a while because
Hmm.
I did write like little jingles. I had a song
Uh,
called "Me So Hungry"
uh-huh.
that was like "Me So Horny," so it was a
Yeah, yeah,
parody.
yeah,
And it was just about eating at Arby's. It was just really stupid, but people loved it though.
yeah.
I did that for a while. As far as open mics go, met a guy named Jimmy Donnelly. Jimmy Donnelly was on like Welcome Back Carter, like
Mm.
back in the day, like in the '70s with John Travolta and a bunch of other big names. I think in comedy too. But anyways, so he was running a show called The Funniest Person in the Valley,
Mm-hmm.
which was like a comedy competition where the audience helped vote on the winner. That's all they went by, though. They didn't go. They didn't have judges.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have anything except for the audience. So it didn't matter if you were good or not.
Yeah.
If you had an audience, you could win, basically.
Right.
So he was shooting a pilot for Last Comic Standing because he was trying to take this concept and make it huge. And then when he was doing that, a gentleman by the name of Jay Moore supposedly stole his idea and
Ooh.
ran with it, and so this guy just fell off the face of the earth. But I kind of attribute everything that I do to the open mics I've seen run, and I tried to take the negatives away from it,
Mm-hmm.
because I know how it is to go and try to get up in front of people and be nervous. So I
Mm-hmm.
just want to take that away from the comics, as much as I
Mm-hmm.
can, anyhow.
Yeah.
So we did. I went to the first audition of Last Comic Standing.
Okay.
Super disappointed though because I stood in line for like 36 hours or something like that.
Whew.
Some ridiculous amount of time. But of course, there was a bunch of comics out there. The line was probably 100 strong at least,
Right. Right.
and I was probably around 30 in line, 35, something like that. And once I got into the door, there was already a comic that was signing like the paperwork to be on the show. Didn't stand in line, but for some reason he had already been chosen, and I was just like, at that moment I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing here. This is set up, and I don't,
Right.
I was a little upset, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So
And this was in Arizona,
yeah, this was
or
in Arizona. So think
oh,
back
okay.
to when I want to look it up because I'm kind of curious now. I want to see.
So how old were you at that time? So what year? Is this the same year you started comedy, or a couple of years after, or what?
It was
Or
about my second year in.
okay. And what year did you actually start?
That's what I'm saying. I don't really know,
Oh,
man.
okay.
But I could look up the first
Yeah, yeah.
season. When was the first season of
Last
Last Comic Standing? That's what I'm gonna look up.
was that 08? Was that 08? No,
We're about to
or
find
maybe
out.
maybe earlier.
2003.
Oh wow,
Yeah. So what?
damn,
18
I'm
years
way
ago?
off. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, about 18 years ago, roughly. 18, 19
Mhm.
years ago. Dang, it does not seem like it's that long ago. But
he's been around,
yeah,
y'all.
so
Okay.
I didn't, I didn't take comedy too serious when I first started. I had kids, and I was working a full-time job, and
Yeah.
it's difficult to try to write jokes, work a full-time job. I
Hmm.
was I was juggling a lot. So
Yeah.
um and then went through a divorce, became a single father, so I again held me back from, you know, following my dreams still. And I'm not sitting here trying to say, my kids fucked up my life or something like that. But I mean, it was,
I would. No,
yeah,
I'm just
no,
kidding.
I know you would, Elvin. I know you
No,
would.
damn it, kids. No,
You're like,
I don't.
I never want to see you again.
I know. Literally, no,
Sorry, I had to throw that joke out there. Anyways,
not. Yeah.
so I still was running a show off and on. I had a comedy crew that was called Coming Up Comics,
Mhm.
and we put on a few shows that were like paid gigs.
Yeah.
Worked with a lot of people in comedy, even up to because I worked with David Spade once. I worked with Paula Francisco, and this is when I first started doing comedy. Didn't really engage. I'm not the kind of person that if I work with somebody who's a big name in comedy, that I'm like, oh, can we take a picture?
Hmm.
Can
Oh
I get
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
picture with you? I just don't do that. I don't know, me personally. I feel like they're just humans.
Yeah.
And if they want to take,
You're not starstruck,
yeah,
so.
I don't get like that. So, um, I moved to LA, and I want to say like 2009 ish. Because I just wanted, I needed something different, man. Phoenix is, to me, it's just, I don't really like the place. So, you know, or at least at the time,
Yeah,
I've heard it's changed somewhat, but I don't know.
yeah.
So I moved to LA. I was there not for comedy. I just, my a girl I was dating's family lived out there, so I was like, well, let's, give it a try.
Yeah.
Went out. I was out there for about 2.5 years. I did stand up like twice, man, and it was super disappointing because at their open mic that I went to, there was like I want to say 35 comedians or something like that,
Mm.
and everyone got 5 minutes, but they like it was like favorites. You know what I mean? So okay, I'm gonna put this person up first. I'm put this up, and I they didn't
Okay.
know me, so I'm not going up in any good order. That's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
first, and then
Bumping people.
yeah, it really was.
Yeah.
It was horrible, and then it took forever for me to go up. By the time I got on stage, there was like one person in the audience that was not a comedian. Like it was ridiculous.
I would have taken a nap and
Well,
shit.
luckily, I still could perform in front of comedians. It
Yeah,
doesn't bother me, and they hadn't seen me before, so you know how it is. You don't Someone doesn't see you, pull out all your old shit too. You're like, I'm gonna go
yeah,
with these hard hitting motherfuckers, whatever.
yeah, boy.
I decided to move to Sacramento. I want to stay in 9, 10, 11, around 2000 and oh no, 2014 roughly. I moved
Okay.
to Sacramento. I was in Sacramento for about 6 months before I decided, okay, it's time for me to hit the stage again. So,
Uh-huh.
um, I went to the Comedy Spot, I believe it's called.
Yeah, yeah,
I went to
yeah.
the Comedy Spot because
One.
they have an open mic there.
Mm-hmm.
Seemed legit. And I don't like to knock open mics, but I didn't really care for it too much. It was just not my cup of tea. I went a few times because I just needed to fresh myself up.
Right.
And then a friend of mine came into town. Her name is Jill Kimmel. In the SAC, she was doing Laughs Unlimited. And so I hit her up and I was like, hey, you're in town. I'd like to see you. She's like, I got passes if you want some free passes. I'm like, all right, shit, you know?
Yeah.
So I go to see her perform. She murders, of course, like always. And after the show, like usually the headliner will go out and say hi to everybody out in the audience and goodbye and blah, blah, blah. And not her. She
Hmm.
was, we hadn't seen each other in so long. We had to catch up, basically.
Right.
So we chilled in the like, where the stage is set. We just chilled there for like, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
The guy whose show it was, his name is Jimmy Earl. Jimmy
Hmm.
Earl produces a bunch of shows, and the show is called "There Goes the Neighborhood." If you have not seen one of those shows, you really should check it out. He does a fantastic job of putting together a show. So he asked me, he's like, "How do you know Jill?" And I'm like, "Well, she's a good friend of mine. I used to stand up in Phoenix." And he was just like, "Oh, I'm from Phoenix too," and we had so much in common. And he's the main reason why I jumped back into comedy, but I put my heart into it this time.
Mm.
So
Nice.
he was like, I can get you put up here, 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 and he got me my first paid gig at a comedy club, basically.
Nice. Which one was that?
Laughs Unlimited, and then
Oh,
I
okay.
did the Tempe Improv in Phoenix. I've done the Punchline in Sacramento, Punchline in Philadelphia. So I've been doing quite a bit of stuff lately, and it
Yeah.
all comes back to, I always tell everyone, like in comedy, you got to be funny, of course, right? But sometimes
Yeah.
being in the right place at the right time just happens, and
Timing.
yeah, and I felt
Timing.
like it just happened for me. I was in the right place at the right time, met the right people, and then boom, here I am.
Yeah. Awesome. That's an awesome story. Well, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's the show.
Yeah.
No,
I know you still want to talk
no,
to me,
no,
Elvin.
no. No, that's man, that's an awesome story. Yeah, man, because like you know, in comedy, a lot of times, if just any Joe Blow, I guess, comedian, I guess, it it takes time. It doesn't, it's not overnight. Even though I'm still early in the game, like myself, but a lot of times, it takes time to develop and not only develop, but like you said, being at the right place, right
Well, I
time
mean,
as
also
well.
you got to get comfortable on stage, and I think that's
Yeah,
where a lot of
yeah,
people have a hard time. And
yeah,
it's due to a lot of reasons. I mean, you get up there, and if you're like, "Ooh, this joke's gonna hit," and then it doesn't, you could get
hmm,
flustered, and then that just
yeah,
screws up your host. So there's a lot of factors, but
yeah,
when it comes down to it,
definitely.
I'm not saying that necessarily being in the right place at the right time is what happens, because I have friends who have been in the game for years as well, and you know they just bust their ass. They just bust their ass, and go on as many mics as they can, and work their asses off until it pays off.
Yeah,
And that happens
yeah,
too. There's no right or wrong way to succeed in
yeah.
comedy.
No, that's true.
Seriously, there's no like secret formula. Like you just got to do X, Y, Z. You know what I mean? It's kind of like if you're trying to date somebody and
Mm.
you tell them a certain joke, like a dirty joke, and then they're like, that's rude," or whatever, right? And then you tell that
Yeah,
same dirty joke to a different girl, and she's like, "Ooh, can I suck your dick?" It's totally different
yeah.
with everyone. You can't like,
Well, oh, and you know what? It's funny that you brought that up because like I never taken a comedy course or class, and um and there's a bunch of comedy, and I'm not gonna shit on these comedy classes. I
yeah,
mean, each to his own, to
yeah,
their
yeah,
own,
yeah.
whatever. But But there's a lot of those classes, courses that you can take. But a lot of times you hear, like, oh, I never took a comedy class. Like I just
Yeah,
did
I
it.
didn't. I didn't
Whatever.
take no
And
comedy class. I did. I
yeah.
did take an acting class, which I felt like for me it was more like kind of like networking in a sense because I had no
Hmm.
clue what I was doing. Like and
Right.
then I come in and just goof off, and people were like, "Dang, you're so good." I'm like, I don't even know what you're meaning by I'm so good. Like, I'm just
Yeah.
being myself.
Right. Right. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but
Well,
those
that's
classes
that's
though, I agree with you. I just think that everyone has their own way of doing things, but I just for me that was not
yeah.
my way.
Yeah. Same. Yeah. Have you heard anyone that has taken it and it worked for them, or
I don't ask, so I don't know. But because
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I know so
No.
many people, I don't go, "Hey, did you take a class to be this good?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah.
So,
No. Same here. It doesn't really cross my mind either. I was just
yeah, no. I
curious,
mean,
but
but I
yeah.
mean, I've seen a lot of. I have a lot of friends who are doing like super huge podcasts that they were in improv classes. So,
Mm.
I mean, I think it can be helpful, especially if you're not good at improv and you want to be an improv comic.
Right. Right.
So,
Yeah. There
not
it
for
is.
me though. Not
Um.
for me. Not at all.
No. Um. You know what? And so fast forward with all that. I remember you saying that you kind of enjoy more of the producing aspect, as
Well, I
far
don't
as
enjoy it,
producing
but
show. Or I mean, or okay, well, I
yeah.
got my infos crossed up.
Well, okay, so
Where did
so
you get your?
producing is just easy for me. I don't know why
Hmm.
it's just easy for me, and it's not that doing stand up is hard. I
Yeah.
just don't want to have to work hard to get booked. You know what I'm saying? Like you
Mm,
really have to work hard in order to get put on some shows. You do.
right. Right.
And don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. Again, right place, right time. When I was doing the shows with Jimmy Earl at Laughs Unlimited, it wasn't necessarily that Jimmy was like, "You should book him. He's funny." He just got me in the door to be seen by the right people, and
Yeah.
then those right
Yeah.
people opened the door for me. They were like, "You're doing really well. I'd like to book you," and it was that easy.
Yeah.
I was producing a show before COVID in Phoenix, Arizona. I was producing another one in Sacramento. And it was the name of the show was Smile Out Loud, which is an acronym. It's SOL. Have you heard of SOL? Shit out of
No.
luck. You never heard of shit out of luck?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So I put together a little. I produced a little song where it was like, if you're feeling SOL, then SOL. Smile out loud. So if you're feeling shit out of luck,
Mm,
smile out loud. You'll feel a lot better. Basically. Um, yeah,
man.
I've done so many things. I worked for a radio station in Phoenix too, called
Oh,
Latino
okay.
Vibe. It was a Latin radio station. I was El Gringo por la calle, which is like the white guy on the streets, basically.
Yeah.
And it helped me. I think that show helped me too, and just being able to just talk more because for the longest time when I have a conversation with, if especially if it's a group of comedians, I just shut up. I just sit there and shut up because if I'm going to try to engage and then I get talked over, I kind of am like, well, I guess I'm not saying nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it got me to where it was like, just step in. If you got something funny to say, just step in.
Yeah.
But it was fun because
Yeah.
on that radio station, man, there was a couple things I did. One thing I did is that it was all set up, but it didn't seem set up. So I call into the radio station, the guy that was hosting it, and I would act like somebody from Texas. I'd talk with a Texan accent,
Ah.
and then I would act as if I'm trying to pick up on chicks that are Hispanic. And so I would ask him to teach me Spanish words. So I'd be
Uh-huh.
like, "Hey, how do you say you have beautiful eyes?" and he'd be like, "You have to say tú tienes nalgas bonitas," and I would, of course, copy that, and I would take it to wherever I was taking somebody trying to pick up on Hispanic chicks at. And tú tienes nalgas bonitas doesn't mean you have beautiful eyes. It means you have a beautiful ass. So he was just teaching me basically the wrong things to say to women. But we
Yeah.
set it up and it was hilarious and people loved it. Another thing I did was I did a movie review guy, but I wouldn't really review the movie. I would just give away everything that happens in the movie. I think we probably could have gotten in trouble for that, but it was fun. Some people got upset, but it was fun. Got to see free
Yeah, yeah.
movies too, so. But that was all intern
Right.
work, and that's what really sucked. Is that like I would have liked to have
Mm.
gotten paid. So I'm working a
Right.
full time job, sometimes 100 hours a week at the time, doing stand up as much as I can, and also dedicating some time to a radio station.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's why I got divorced.
Oh, that's for
Yeah,
another show right
definitely.
there.
That's for Maury. What are you talking about?
Yeah. So okay, and you said you made your way to Sacramento eventually and stuff. You know, you did some spots out there. Um, Modesto. Why Modesto? What brought you out to
So I was
Modesto?
working for a company. It was a property management company, and they had sent me to Tennessee to work in Tennessee for a little while. I was there for I think I want to say about 3 or 4 months. Hated it, man. In Tennessee, you don't realize how racism really works until it's like in your face. I got called
Mm,
what did they call me? A Yankee. They called me a Yankee. I don't
mm,
know how many times, and I had no
yeah.
clue what a Yankee was. Like I was like, "What the hell?"
Mm,
They said it's someone from the north, and I'm from
yeah,
Arizona. That's
yeah.
like super south. What are you talking about? I don't know what you mean. It was also
They got the
well, they're
geographics
from
wrong.
Tennessee, so.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they also it was the first time I ever heard someone say the blacks. Like I'd never heard. I've heard,
Mm.
you always hear somebody describe somebody. Well, it was a black dude or whatever, but he actually said the blacks, and I was like, I don't know what to say to this. Like, you sound racist
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now. But so I was doing that, and then as I was doing that, I met someone uh, in Modesto on Facebook. We were cross promoting. She's a karaoke DJ. I'm a comedian, so we were just, hey, you want to come out to this show? And I was doing a show in Sacramento because I was still doing shows as I was in Tennessee. The company I worked for would fly me to the gigs basically. So I would be gigging in Phoenix and they would fly me to Phoenix, and I'd gig in Sacramento. They'd fly me to Sacramento. So I ended up, she was in the hospital because she's disabled. She has a medical condition that's pretty scary. So I was driving from Phoenix to Sacramento I'm sorry, from Sacramento to Phoenix for a gig. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to stop and say hi and finally meet this female that I've been talking to for so long. And so drove through and met her, and it became something. So here I am in Modesto with her. Basically, yeah.
Bam. There you
Yeah.
go. There you
So
go. Awesome. Cool, cool. Man,
it's a love
that's
story, kind of.
lot of yeah. It's a lot of peaks and valleys, right
I
there.
don't know about valleys, but no,
No, no. Well, I mean,
she's
you
not
gone
flat
through,
chested, is what I'm
the
saying.
no, no. Hello. Yeah. But yeah, man. No, that's awesome. I mean, you found your way to Modesto.
Life
You've
happened, you know.
gone through. Yeah, yeah. Life happened. You gone through different areas of the United States. I mean, shit, man. That has to be accounted for
Yeah,
something.
yeah. I definitely
Um.
think that not enough people just let life happen. They
Yeah.
try to force it, and when you try
Yeah.
to force it, I don't feel like life is going to happen the way you want it to.
Right. You brought up the whole karaoke thing. I noticed that you have that included as far as when you do the open mics. I mean, I think you touched on it a little bit. Is that part of your
Well, I
hustle
mean,
as
of course,
well?
we all
I
try to
mean,
make money and doing something, and I'll be quite honest with you, karaoke pays more than comedy does, unfortunately. But
yeah,
I feel as if I'm just an entertainer, and
yeah,
you've seen me perform karaoke. So, well, I
yes,
can't
yes,
say
yes.
seen, but you've heard me perform karaoke, and I just go up there and I just take people out of their life for a little bit, because I feel like that's what comedy's about, is just taking people from their lives,
Yeah.
even if it's just for a little bit of time.
Well, you know what? It's a great mixture. Like if you ask me, because obviously you're doing the comedy, and then after the comedy, you got karaoke. I mean, it fits you. I mean, in my opinion, like that's
Well,
a cool
again, too,
mixture, good
it is
blend.
like promoting myself, basically, because
Hmm.
it's crazy, because I my now fiance, um her family, they know me, but I'm not like all crazy Curtis at their family events. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not the showmanship person, you know? So her cousin came out, because he's from New York, but with this whole pandemic, he's not living in New York right now, because it's expensive. There's no jobs really, or, not too much of a job really. And so he came back down, decided to go out with us like last weekend. After hanging out with us, he went back to the family and told them, he is totally different person. He's not the same person when we're out. And he's like, I had so
What
much
the heck?
fun. It was just a great time. And it wasn't even our show, because I'm the same at everyone else's show. If they're doing karaoke or comedy, I'm the same person. So,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
then so the next day, we had another karaoke show, and he decided to tell others to come out too. So it is I think
Mm.
in me doing karaoke along with comedy, it's a good way to just cross promote too. So
Oh,
even if I'm
that's
not
good.
trying to do it, because a
Awesome.
lot of times I forget to do it, but like, I have a comedy show tomorrow. Damn, I forgot to tell everybody. That's usually how it works.
All right. Um. Okay. Okay, Curtis. I want to switch it.
Okay.
Switch gears a little bit here. Okay. I've been I s- I saw this podcast. It's a Bobby Lee podcast. I'm pretty sure you're
Yeah, I
familiar with
kind of
that
know
name.
the name. I'm not too familiar with his stand up,
Um. Yeah. Asian comic, Korean comic.
yeah, this last name's
From
Lee.
LA. Yeah. It would be
Yeah.
crazy if he was
I mean, it'd
black,
have been
right?
like me, but
No. Yeah, that too. But he recently had Carlos
okay.
Mencia on, and this is where I want to kind of pick your brain, I guess, and take it where I want to take it. Um, Now, prior to this, him being on that, it's a Tiger Belly podcast that that's Bobby
Okay.
Lee's podcast. But prior to that, Carlos was on another this guy's I don't know, he has a YouTube channel, but he ended up interviewing Carlos like a year, about a year ago. It was like maybe his first public appearance, as far as kind of unveiling of what's transpired with that whole thing with his situation, the Joe Rogan situation. And so I was able to
Okay.
check out both, and I guess I just kind of wanted your perspective on it. not so much as far as like the joke
Uh-huh.
stealing thing, but just kind of just listening to it. Like I feel like he's been hurt by this and like kind of traumatized. He kind of mentions that he's gone to
Okay.
therapy and stuff. But at the same time, it seems like he just doesn't want to like I for lack of a better term, give in or because they like on Bobby Lee they or both shows they try to tell him, "Oh, but why not
Yeah.
apologize? Why not?" And he keeps on saying, I reached out to a bunch of people, and but and when I was listening to the first time or the other show when I guess he made his first public appearance on there, uh, the host brought up a good question that or here
Okay.
well here's my observation. I think like I think him and Joe just need to sit down, do a little powwow session, smoke some weed, and just hash it
Well,
out.
okay, so if you want my opinion, I'll give it to you. So,
Yeah, sure,
the
yeah.
first time I met Carlos Mencia, um, was when, like, at the peak of his Mind of Mencia that he was doing on Comedy Central,
Yeah.
and he was a total douche.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just felt like he was just pushing through the herd of people who were there to see him, and he just didn't give a shit. You know what I mean? Like, it did not matter.
Mm-hmm.
The second time I met him was like right after it, and you could tell that there was something wrong. Like, he was down, or I don't know exactly what it was, but he was
Yeah.
not the same person. The third
Yeah.
time that I met him, I was producing a show, and now I'm just giving you all the times I met him and how I felt to
Yeah.
explain what
Sure.
I think. So, the third time I met him, I was
Mm-hmm.
producing a show in Phoenix, and he happened to be Jimmy Earl. So Jimmy Earl works with Carlos Mencia all the time. Like, he's pretty good friends with Carlos Mencia,
Okay.
and so
Right.
um,
Right.
his show got canceled. I don't remember, something happened. Like, the it had nothing to do with him. It was like, the power went out at the place they were doing the show at, or something like that. And so Carlos asked if
Okay.
he could be on my show. So, of course, I was just like, you don't have to ask me. You know what I mean? Like, just tell him to come down. I ain't even going to say no, you know? And so he came down.
Yeah.
So I was running just a regular showcase. And the headliner was, oh, who was it? The headliner of the show was, oh, it was Carlo oh fuck, Ellis Rodriguez. Ellis Rodriguez was headlining my
Okay.
show.
Yeah.
So after Ellis went
Mm-hmm.
up there and murdered, Carlos got brought up by Cisco Duran. Cisco Duran is the opener for Carlos on most of his shows, right? So, Carlos goes
Okay.
up there after we already done about an hour and 45 minute show. Carlos goes up there and does another hour. Everyone stuck around. He murdered. It was awesome. It was great. He was humbled. Um, I could have took a picture with him, but again, I didn't. I'm not that kind of person. Everybody else did, but it's just not my thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, after the show, I'm talking to my friend Jimmy again, and I'm like, "Hey, real quickly, man, like, he has a joke that is exactly like your joke. Like, the joke is, the only thing he does is change the accent of the person in the joke. Jimmy's joke is like this Asian
Mm-hmm.
female, and his joke is like this Hispanic female." And so I go, "What the hell,
Mm-hmm.
man?" And he's like, "Yeah, I don't tell that joke when I work with him." And I'm like, "Dude, that's fucked up." And he goes, "Honestly," he goes, "the way that he takes people's jokes is not so much that he takes their joke. He takes their concept of a joke and makes it his own." And I'm just sitting there like,
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like
Kind of
that's wrong.
remix
You
it.
know, I feel like that's not something someone should do. Um, so with that being said,
Right,
after
right.
going through all those phases and him realizing that he fucked up and still not changing, I don't see Joe Rogan saying, "Oh, hey, let's be cool." No, because Joe Rogan knows he's still doing it. I've had other friends. Oh man, I have so many friends I forget names of, but I worked with this one guy two
Yeah.
times. For the life of me, I'm not going to remember his name, but he said the same thing that Carlos was at the back of one of the venues in LA, and I think it was the Comedy Store, and he was headlining the show, and when he saw Carlos, he automatically got mad because he's like, "What joke is he going to take this time?"
Mm,
So
right.
I don't think
Well,
Carlos is
okay.
gonna. I
No,
don't think
that's
he still thinks he's doing anything wrong. Whether he apologizes or not, I think he'll
yeah.
only
No, I
apologize because of the fact that he doesn't
yeah.
want to, look like the bad guy. If that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Well, I
Are
can
you still there,
kind yeah. No, I can sense there's yeah. Can you hear me? Hello? You got me? Hello, hello.
Elvin?
Yeah. Can you hear me? You got me? Uh-oh. What is going on?
Elvin? Hello?
All right, we got him. We got him back. We got him back.
What was
Yeah,
that all about?
I don't know what happened. I heard everything you said up until that point where I had to like, you know what, I gotta disconnect and reconnect and log back on.
Was it your end? Because I don't have any issues.
Yeah, I don't know. This is the thing with the app sometimes. Like, if it's because it's running off of Wi-Fi, so God knows, what's gonna happen. Either
Oh,
a phone call, just a weird signal. But I'm all charged up. My phone is charged, so I don't know what it is. But hey, whoa.
where'd you lose me at?
Um, you I think
We were talking about Mencia, but I don't
oh
know what part of the story I lost you at.
yeah, yeah, he was Jimmy Earl, like you were talking about the
Oh, okay,
same
okay.
joke, same
Yeah,
concept kind of thing. Yeah.
okay. So he pretty much Jimmy's joke is with an Asian accent, right? It's McDonald's joke. The person in the drive-through has an Asian accent.
Hmm.
Um, Mencia's joke was McDonald's drive-through, somebody with a Hispanic accent.
Hmm.
So so I think what Carlos does, and Jimmy was like, I just don't tell the joke when I'm working with them, and I'm like, that's to me that's messed up, you
Yeah.
know.
Or why work
But
with him, right? Or that kind of thing
well,
too.
I know why he works with them because think about it. If you open for Mencia, that does get you into places, you know.
Okay. Yeah, I see that.
So
Yeah, I see that.
so I would do it. I mean, I would hate to do it, but I would do it. Um,
Right.
I don't think he would want to really work with me because if he took a joke of mine, I would call him out on it.
Yeah.
But my point was is that I don't think Carlos thinks he's doing anything wrong. And when I talked to Jimmy about it, Jimmy was like, he doesn't necessarily take someone's joke. He takes their concept and in his mind makes it better. So how's he hurting anybody?
Really?
Yeah, so I don't see him. Um,
That's what Jimmy said. Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if it's coming from Carlos, but that's what Jimmy said. And in my mind, I'm just thinking, I think that Carlos doesn't think he's doing anything wrong still, and I don't think that who was it that you said needed to get high with him or whatever? Joe Rogan. I don't think.
oh yeah,
Yeah, I don't think Joe Rogan is gonna accept an apology if he were to try to.
yeah. You know what? I would, I would totally agree with you on that. I but but just from an outsider's perspective and just watching that, because the other host, the other show he was on, he was kind of just insinuating that okay, this needs to happen, and it. it might not happen. It may never happen. But he was kind of throwing that idea out there, and I kind of thought like, okay, maybe that is a possibility,
Yeah.
um, but highly unlikely, like you mentioned. And from what I get from it, like, yeah, it seems like total in denial of that whole thing. He he did admit like, okay, I fucked up as far as bumping people or running the light on people or that kind of thing. I was like, okay, but and he was trying to and he was trying to, I guess, justify or defend himself as far as like, I didn't do anything wrong. I have the evidence. I have the video evidence. You tell me what jokes I stole, and I'll apologize. And
Yeah.
I'm not in that era. I'm just kind of looking from a fan's perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's fascinating, but I never was a part of that scene, obviously. Um, but it seems like couple things like, yeah, he's been really kind of like down or hurt, and then and in denial at the same time too.
Well, don't get me wrong. He is hilarious, man. Like, even though it was not his concept of a joke, I will just say that. Even though it was not his concept of a joke, it was just as good as Jimmy's. And I'm not going to say it was better because I honestly feel like that's one of Jimmy's strong jokes. That's another reason I remembered it and was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah,
Because it was
yeah.
just such a good joke. I'm like, why would you let him? That's what I was thinking to myself. Why would you let him steal that joke?
Right.
Like, why would you let him take that from you? Because that's such a good joke. But again, Jimmy was just like, he's just took the concept. He didn't really take the joke. And I'm like, that to me is. But Jimmy, let me tell you, Jimmy's really humble.
Mm.
Jimmy is the kind of person that, like, you could do him wrong 3 or 4 times and he, eventually will get tired and say something, but he's just too nice, man.
Right, right. Well, I guess there's that side of things as well, like, you know um because when he said, okay, I'll call up people and apologize to them, and then do we need to have this conversation? And it's like, oh, here we go. There you go. All right,
Oh,
it's
the
cracking
cops are
now.
here. Yeah. The
I'm
party
killing
has
it.
begun. I think someone died across the street.
Yeah,
That's all.
right. Somebody got ran over. But yeah, it's kind of that thing where, oh shit, now I lost my train
It's
of thought.
fascinating. I know that it's like, everybody like looks at it and they're like, "Oh, well, should he do this or that?" Have you heard anything that he's taken and done different?
You know what? No. I
So so I suggest you just look up the Bill Cosby joke.
yeah, I heard about that. They brought that up on the Bobby Lee.
Yeah, just listen to it though. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
listen to it for yourself because yeah, you could say I don't see really too much wrong, whatever, but I mean it's obvious like he took that's the same joke.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? That's the same joke. So, and that's just one incident. And again, I have friends in the business who refused to work with him because that's when he came to my show to get that spot because the other show got shut down. I was afraid. Like I was
Mm.
seriously like, I don't want this guy to see my set. Not that he would steal anything from me. My set's shit compared to his, but it's like he could still take the concepts, make them better, and then make money off of me, basically, because that's what I feel like he does.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
is that illegal? No, it's not. Is it immoral? I feel like it's
Yeah.
immoral
It seems like it. Yeah, yeah.
because I
Um.
wouldn't do that to anybody. I feel like that's. I remember when no, I was about a year in, and there was this friend of mine who went out of state to do stand up. Like he was like, I'm going to see my family, and then I'm gonna get on this spot, and we're like, cool. And then he came back, and he was all telling us that he told our jokes at this venue. Like he's telling us which jokes of ours hit at this other venue, and we're just like, why would you tell our jokes,
Yeah,
at somewhere else? They're not your jokes.
yeah,
And I feel like that's like almost the same concept.
yeah, yeah. No, because I mean, yeah, our jokes is personal. It's our babies. For you to do that and run with it elsewhere, that yeah, that's a little fucked up. But
Yeah.
yeah,
It
um,
pissed a lot of people off, but it happens.
yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah, it's I don't know. It seems like yeah, he's in like in total denial of with that whole thing. And then
There's
and oh, go ahead, go ahead.
there's some people that don't see what they do as wrong, and they can't see from the perspective of someone else.
They got
And I
blinders on.
well, it's not even that. I mean, they're just. I think he's egotistical.
Yeah, yeah,
I think he's. Uh, oh man, he thinks of himself, and that's it. He doesn't think of anyone else.
yeah.
What is that called? How come I can't think of that word? Anyways, but that's the two things that I see in him big time.
Hmm.
Is that he's egotistical and he doesn't think of others at all. He has no empathy at all.
Hmm.
At least that's what it seems. And I'm not. I don't know him like that, but
Yeah, same here either.
I
But
mean,
yeah,
I have friends in common, and uh, Jimmy speaks very highly of him.
that's interesting. You know what? Here's another thing. If because they did bring this up as far as like okay, um, he stated that he would call up different people and and do we have a problem? Is okay, no, no, we don't, and let it be. Um, so he's trying to make a point of that, but you mentioned that there's a lot of people like um that don't want to deal with him. Like I guess my question is like, have those people come out or do they
Well, I
want to
mean,
come out or no?
okay, so the one in specific, I just can't think of his name. He just had a Netflix special too. I just can't think of his name. Anyways, I think he definitely would come out, but I just think he just doesn't want to give him any publicity on it.
Okay, okay,
Because
okay.
bad publicity is publicity.
Yeah.
And at this point, I feel like Carlos would just be like crying on camera, saying, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do this," just so he can get more money, and more fame. I mean, it's that's just my opinion, but again, I don't know him like that. But I'm just saying, like, dude, when I first met him, he was such an asshole,
Yeah.
like such an asshole. It was like I was like he could clean my shoes with his shoes with my face or something, and it would
Yeah.
and it wouldn't
Yeah.
mean nothing. And then when I met
Right.
him the second time, I mean, yeah, the second time, it seemed like he was more depressed than anything.
Mm.
And then the third time, it was like, oh,
Was it
thank you
after the whole
so
Joe Rogan
much.
thing?
Yeah, so the
The,
second time was like right around the time that it was happening.
oh, okay, okay, okay.
And so he seemed just down. Like that's all it seemed to me, like he was just down. And then the third time, because I put him on my show, he was so grateful. Like it did not seem like Carlos at all.
Right, right.
He was like a totally different person. And don't get me wrong, he could have changed. I don't know. I just
Right.
but with him telling pretty much my friend's joke, I didn't feel like that.
Right. Oh, okay. Here's a couple things I think I just remembered. With the whole Joe Rogan thing, if there was to like meet somewhere and you know have Carlos on his part, I don't think it will. I don't think it would happen. I guess only because I think Joe feels firmly on what he believes and strongly. Yeah,
Yeah, he has
I don't
strong
think.
beliefs.
Yeah, and I don't. Yeah, I don't think he'll let that fly.
If he does, it'll probably be for the same reasons, just the ratings,
Hmm.
and getting people to watch. Unfortunately, it sucks, man, but sometimes people do things for reasons that it's just like, why? It's like it's like the Kardashians. Like people love watching this ridiculous show of all these white chicks doing stupid shit, you know. And a lot of they called it reality TV, but a lot of it was not reality. A lot of it is not what was really happening.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think that would be the same thing. If they came on and he said, "Hey, I'm sorry, man. I apologize," and Joe was like, "Apology accepted," I feel like as soon as the show was over, he'd be like, "Fuck you, get out of my office." Like that's how I feel. Like he'd be like, "Thanks for the ratings, bitch." Like
Oh man.
you know, I mean, behind the scenes, it's like the Donald Trump thing and just politics in general. It's all fake, man. It's all we see what they want us to see, and you know, sometimes it's like that in this business.
Yeah, yeah.
It's why I don't want to be famous, man. Like I don't see myself wanting to be famous because there's
Right,
so much stuff that people can make up about you too, on top of
right.
you know just whatever. I'm like, no, I don't need that negative shit in my life.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's true. That's definitely true. Shit, just let me be a good comic, then I'm
Right.
on my way. You
I'll
know.
tell
Uh,
jokes and stay behind the scenes. I'm fine with that.
yeah, I'm good with that. Let me shit. Let me travel to these different areas, do comedy. Hey, yes, I'm okay.
I don't even know about traveling anymore, man.
Right.
Like I did it so much for a little bit of time, and in that little bit of time, like even like I can't stand airports, man.
Mm,
Like I can't
yeah.
stand them. And I remember one time there was something that happened in I had a layover in Nevada or somewhere like that, and it had snowed so much that there was no planes leaving. So I didn't even get to that state, but my flight got canceled, and I had to wait 14 hours at an airport.
Whew.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
was
No, I
so
feel you on that.
shitty.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, no, you know
Yeah.
what? I think I'll stay in. I'll go to Phoenix. I could drive there. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, because another thing, like I just I guess the reason why I say that because like I'm still new in the game. I haven't, I'm still doing uh shows and mics around these area. I haven't ventured off, to anywhere, outside of my my area.
usual, yeah,
So
your
yeah,
usual spots,
the
yeah.
usual spots. Yeah. So I'm a little curious, yeah, I see your point though. I mean, that has to be grueling. Um,
It's not all
uh,
fun and games, man. The only time that's fun and games is being on stage, and if you think about it, how much of that
yeah.
time is it?
Right. Right. Yeah, man.
Because I mean, I headlined Carson City, Nevada, the Nugget,
Hmm.
and it was snowing over there, right? And so when we got there, it was easy. We got through the first part of the storm basically, and it wasn't really that bad. But leaving was pain in the ass. I got paid good money for the job, but it cost me money to get chains for my tires, and then we had to drive 30. We had to drive 30 miles an hour in the snow to try to get home. It's just a pain in the ass, man.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, Curtis, man, I appreciate your take on that whole situation.
Yes, sir.
That's a interesting take on that whole situation. But yeah, no, I just kind of wanted your opinion on that because I just saw that recently and I was like, oh, okay, maybe I can talk to Curtis about this.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't, I don't know. My opinion doesn't matter. I know that, but,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's it is what it is. I don't know the whole situation, but looking at it from the outside, you can kind of tell that like the shit ain't gonna go the way they want it to go. If they're trying to make things better, it's just not gonna work. They don't like
Yeah.
each other, man. It's plain and simple.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And why?
Yeah.
Why even
Well,
try? In my opinion, like if you don't like someone, right? Why even try? I wouldn't.
right, right. Well, because recently, I guess there was a video clip of Rogan. Somebody he had somebody on his show, and they brought it up, the whole interview, and he firmly believes, he strongly believes till this day, like no, like he did it. I mean,
Well, because he did. I mean,
Yeah, 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 yeah. He's
it's
gonna hold
like
firm.
it's
Yeah,
like
he's gonna
how
hold
it's
firm
like
on it.
how Trump was like, I didn't do anything to get the Russians to talk to Clinton. But if you listen to his interview, he's like, Russia, please get her emails. Like, come on, man. Like, it's right there in front of you. It's the same thing. Like, I feel like nowadays you can catch somebody, killing someone on tape and they would still get away with it because they'd be like, that ain't me. Or, I was sleepwalking. It would be something stupid, but, you know, it's like everyone can deny things until they die,
Yeah,
even though it's right there in your face that you did something wrong.
yeah, yeah. Quick thing. Before we um, just wrap up this whole Carlos Mencia thing. He brought up the fact that like he kept like uh just bringing up this point that okay like okay if that's the case what okay how come so what joke did I steal from Joe Rogan like and he was like no there's no joke I never stole anything from him and I was thinking in my head like that's not even the point bro like it has nothing to do with you stealing
Yeah, it isn't the
it,
who, it's
yeah
the
yeah
actual act.
yeah
Like, it doesn't matter who you did it to. Oh, so I'm only doing it to open micers. I'm only taking open micers jokes and making them my own. That doesn't matter. You're stealing jokes, man.
yeah.
Stop doing it, asshole.
Bam, you
Like,
heard it.
seriously.
Oh man. Well, you know what, Curtis? We're gonna wrap it up in a couple minutes here. Where can they check you out? And online. Like tell the people. Yeah. Where can they check your stuff out?
Wait, first of all, how many people were we talking? Just kidding.
I
No.
mean,
uh,
the one person over here in the corner. No.
Curtis Newingham at Facebook, Curtis Newingham at Instagram, Comic Curtis at Twitter. Um, I think that's all I want to give out. Well, maybe Curtis Newingham one at TikTok. I do.
TikTok. Okay.
I don't really do too much on it lately, but my content is pretty original, and I don't do what everybody else does. You know how they're like, "Ooh, let's do this trend and that trend." I try to stay away from trends and do my own thing. So
See, there you go. He's not a trendy guy,
no, and
people.
then you can also look me up, YouPorn, Big Black. I'm just kidding. That's it. That's all you can find me on. And then
There you go.
of course, Love Karaoke is where you can find karaoke. So
There you go. Hey, check them out. Support Curtis, man. Go out to one of the open mics, and you know, just go and have fun. I mean, he puts on a good show. So it's a lot of fun. A lot of comedians. You know, been going out there. I'm one of them. So you know, good times. As far as my stuff, where's my damn podcast? Be sure to share, like, you know, subscribe, review, all that good stuff. You can find me whatever on IG, Facebook, whatever. But the most important thing is share the podcast. It's on your favorite streaming platform. This will be up on my YouTube channel as well. So yeah, go ahead and do that. Curtis,
thank
appreciate
you.
you, man. Man, thank you for spending some time with
No
me.
problem.
So a lot of
If
fun,
this
man.
gets a lot of traction, I'll be back. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, there you
Then
go.
hopefully I'll have some merchandise you could sell for me or something.
Yeah, I know, right? And then we're gonna make it big.
Hell
Not
yeah.
not famous, but
Yeah.
you know, a little something. You
I
know.
always make it big in the bed.
Oh,
Yeah, I needed a rim shot for that.
hello, Rim. Hello. Damn, Curtis.
Yeah, anything
Back
dirty.
door,
Yeah.
back
They
door.
call me Mr. Friday Late. A lot of my friends do because I have nothing but dirty jokes. But anyways,
But yeah, no, it's awesome. Until next time, y'all.
Yeah, have
Until the
fun.
next episode. Where's my damn podcast? Thank you.
All right. See
Peace.
you, man.